Безопасность или паранойя? Сейчас мы об этом поговорим.
Security or paranoia, and we're going to speak about it. And we're going to look at the client part for mobile applications, and we're going to speak with Yuri Shabalin,
Привет, Юр.
leading architect from Wordfish,
Старшим специалистом группы
and
исследований
Artyom Kulakov, senior specialist
позитива.
from mobile application research in positive technologies. Hello, Artyom.
Слушайте,
Hello,
а
everybody.
я прям с этого вопроса и начну. Название у нас такое.
And I will begin with this question.
Если
The
кратко,
name is very loud.
паранойя.
And briefly speaking, security or paranoia?
Ну, конечно,
Well, if you're not against, I will start. Security, of course.
с мобилками, наверное,
And I've been working with mobile applications as much as I remember myself. In my experience, we always had mobile applications and then they became the main part of my work. And very often,
да, потому что
people forget about their security.
один клиент, ничего
Because they say, well, one client, nothing interesting.
не влияет на безопасность там.
They don't influence the KPIs.
Да, но
We don't care about the security of one user.
один из
But there is a lot of arguments here, and one of them is that the most important one, and after this argument, many people start thinking, well, client security, one client security in a mobile application, well, it's the mistake, but what if this user,
уязвимость в фронте,
whose money will be stolen through the vulnerability of the front end in your application, what if it's going to be you? And they start thinking about it. When you look at the numbers,
цифры, да, то есть
those mass attacks, these are just numbers.
статистика, да,
But
гибель одного
death of many people, it's statistics. But the death of one person is a tragedy.
пофигу.
So the same thing when you look,
Становишься целью, это уже совсем другой разговор.
when you become the target.
Ну и второе, да, там самый распространенный
Well,
постулат из универа, это то, что безопасность системы
the most
определяется её самым
important
слабым звеном.
thing is that security of the system is defined by its weakest point. So we don't want this weakest part be the front end of the mobile application. Well, I have a question to you.
Попыток
Generally, there was a lot of attempts to put security on top of mobile applications.
девайс была очень известная, популярная
Bring on
концепция.
device, it was a well-known popular concept, and to my point of view, it didn't find any feedback in the hearts of the consumers. To your point of view,
А может быть даже
for the consideration of recent days or years or specifics of the recent year, this year, do you see any changes in perception of mobile security? Honestly, it did change. It has changed in the heads of regular people, I would say.
Это понимание было давно, что безопасность.
Because experts, they did have this understanding that security is needed this or other way, but regular people, basic people, these leaks and attacks, well, it makes people think more about it, and people more and more often they look at those applications they did download, and suddenly people started reading privacy policies and other things and all the events surrounding us. They are drivers. There was a question here about the security and paranoia. I think that if it's a healthy paranoia, if it's a certain driver
Более безопасными или же
for making systems more safe, or
почему нет
pay
паранойи?
attention to security more. Why not? Paranoia is not bad.
Я считаю, что
So it's a justified thing.
Смотрите,
Yes, it
теперь
is.
про уязвимости и бэкдоры.
Let's see.
Мобильные
But
приложения,
vulnerabilities and backdoors, mobile applications, client part. How can you see the difference of one between another from another? Well, if you will think about it,
Бэкдоры, да, ну это суть одна и та
the
же.
vulnerabilities and backdoors, well, the main idea is the same. This is something that violates the security of application. Well, in other words, this is something that allows you to use its possibilities without informing the users or without informing the manufacturers. Well, relatively speaking, yes. But honestly speaking, during all my experience, I'm speaking about backdoors in mobile applications. I haven't seen those. Like everybody like to ask the first question, can your scan search for NDV? No scanner can search for NDV.
Всем понятно. Вот, нет, то есть
Everybody understands that. No.
бэкдоры, да, вот
Backdoors,
на них стали
perhaps.
обращать внимание, да, и они начали
they
появляться
started paying
массово в
attention to them,
этом
and
году,
they started
да, то есть
appearing
таким лозунгом
like
призыв
in a
к
mass
миру.
amounts
Вот. Но в
this year with
мобильных я пока
different
такого не
calls
встречал.
and propaganda. But
То есть
in mobile applications, I haven't seen
на мой
them
взгляд, откуда они
in
пока
mass
могут прийти,
volumes.
да, это
Well,
из
where they can
различных
come
вопросов
from,
библиотек
they can come from
проекта. Они
different
больше страдают,
libraries
на мой
from
взгляд, чем
projects. But
веб-приложения, чем
this
мобильные.
mostly is a problem of
Артем,
web
у тебя
applications than
какой
mobile
опыт
applications.
с бэкдорами и
Artyom,
уязвимостями?
what is
Вообще, может
your
быть, можешь
experience with
кратко
backdoors and
зафиксировать,
vulnerabilities?
если речь
Maybe
не
you can
идет о
classify them
бэкдорах
somehow,
в
especially if
приложениях,
we're not speaking about
то каких
backdoors in mobile
уязвимостей? Все-таки
applications.
уязвимости
Then maybe you can
типа
classify
операционных
classify
систем,
vulnerabilities
ну,
like
скорость.
operating systems,
На
types,
самом деле
device types.
разница между бэкдором и уязвимостью,
Well, the
ну,
difference
такая
between
довольно
backdoor and
призрачная.
vulnerability is
Ну,
very
фактически
diluted
бэкдор — это уязвимость, о которой
because
известно тому,
backdoor is a
кто ее заложил
vulnerability which is
для своих целей.
known to the one who
Да, в
installed
мобилках можно, наверное,
this
встретить
for his own
меньше
purposes.
бэкдоров, просто потому
In
что
mobile applications, you see
в
less
них проще
backdoors just
реверсить,
simply
что ли, на
because for the
самом деле
reason that
проще
it's very
заглянуть
easy to
и
reverse
посмотреть,
them.
что
It's
там
easy to look under
в
their hood
отличие от
and
всяких
see what's
прошивок
there
для контроллеров,
compared
да,
to
где, мне
different
кажется, это
patches for
встречается чаще.
controllers,
Я
where
видел
I
даже
see this
в
more
одной
often, and
декомпилированной
I even
прошивке
have
такое
seen in
слово
one
даже было написано
decompiled patch
backdoor.
such a
Выглядит
word.
классно. В
It said
мобильке я такого не
backdoor.
видел.
I
Но
haven't
на
seen
самом
anything
деле
like
это не
that in a
значит, что
mobile app,
бэкдоров
but
нет.
nevertheless,
Если
it
взять
doesn't mean that
данные о
backdoors are not
недооперации линии
available out
Дурова,
there.
да, о том, что в WhatsApp бэкдоры
I've heard
ай-яй-яй,
from Durov that in
имеет ли
WhatsApp
оно что-то
they have a
под
lot of
собой? Это
backdoors.
хороший вопрос, но почему бы нет? Потому
Well,
что
it's a good
ведь можно
question
в той же криптографии ее можно реализовать так,
because in same
чтобы
cryptography
там
it
была
can be realized
возможность,
in
о
such a
которой
way
известно только тому человеку,
that there would be a
который
possibility
этот
known only to a
алгоритм писал,
person
да? И для
who been
стороннего
writing this
наблюдателя, который
particular
может быть
algorithm.
небольшой
And for
специалист в
third-party observer
криптографии,
who is
он
not a
будет
big
все равно
specialist in
увидеть. А
cryptography,
для тех,
everything will
кто
look
знает, как
regular and normal.
эксплуатировать
But for the
это
person
ключевой
how to
момент. Нужно
exploit
знать, как
this thing, and
эксплуатировать
it's a
этот
key point,
бэкдор.
you should know
Для
how to
такого человека,
exploit
ну,
this
это очевидно,
backdoor.
и он легко
For
это
that particular
использует.
person, this is
Ну,
obvious
мы
and
по
he can
умолчанию
easily use it.
предполагаем, что в
So by
мобильных
default,
устройствах
we
в
assume
целом
that in mobile
бэкдоры не
applications,
делают. Если
generally
есть
speaking,
какие-то дырки,
backdoors are
какие-то
not being
уязвимости
produced. And
или
if there are
ошибки,
certain holes,
допущенные при
these
разработке.
are vulnerabilities or errors
Ну,
during
я не
development.
разрабатываю мобильные устройства, и прям
Well,
сказать, что
I'm
там
not developing
делают
mobile
бэкдоров,
applications, and
я не могу.
I can't say
Невозможно
that they don't
чисто
do backdoors
теоретически,
directly.
естественно.
Possibly,
Но вот
theoretically, they
такого
are
типа
possible,
явного, да, явного
Тренда
but
бэкдора, когда
nothing
вот я открою
obvious, no
приложение и
obvious
увижу, да, там
backdoors when
какую-то
you open
хитрую
application
конструкцию,
and
я
you
такого не
immediately see
встречал на
some
своей
clever
практике.
constructions, clever
Юр,
construct.
вопрос.
I never seen
Ага.
it in my experience.
Про WhatsApp,
Yuri, I have a
да,
question
что считать
about WhatsApp.
бэкдором, да, что уязвимостью. То есть,
What
например,
can be
хранение
considered a
всех переписок в
backdoor?
открытом виде на устройстве в
Storing
базе — это
all
бэкдор
the
или уязвимость?
correspondence in the
То есть, имея
open
физический доступ, да,
source,
можно
is
через
it backdoor
инструкцию
or
получить.
vulnerability?
Да,
Getting the physical
вопрос,
access to
как
this,
мы
is it a
будем
backdoor
как
or
бэкдор или как уязвимость?
how we will classify it, backdoor
У
or
тебя вопрос, Юр, как
vulnerability?
обнаружить атаку
Depends
со
on the
стороны
classified.
клиента в
How can we
случае,
discover
если
the attack
человек
from the side of the
использует
client in
какую-то
case
уязвимость на
if
устройстве?
they will use certain
Вот на самом
vulnerability in your
деле очень
device?
хороший,
Well,
очень
honestly speaking,
сложный, наверное, вопрос, да, потому
it's a
что
very
на клиентскую сторону,
complicated
да, направлен
question
атак клиента.
because the client
Да,
attacked.
тут,
It's
ну,
the attack
стандартные
against the client.
средства антифрода
And a
на стороне бэка,
standard anti-fraud
стандартные
system on the side of
средства,
the
различные библиотеки, да, и
client,
сервисы по как
different
раз-таки
libraries
по
and
различным действиям,
services,
антифроду и всему остальному.
like
Вот.
anti-fraud
Ну
activities and everything else.
и там основной, наверное, смысл, да, это не
And the main idea
реагировать, ну, как бы реагировать, понятно, да, то есть стараться не допускать
of reaction or
вещей,
trying
которые как бы
not
не
to
банально
allow
могут
things
сделать.
like that,
Вот, есть различные
no matter how simple it would
либо, да, которые
sound,
позволяют делать там,
or
проверять устройства, в том числе проверять различные
we
приложения.
need to
И, в
check
принципе, там
the
практика
devices, we need to check the applications, and the practice of DevOps on-time application security protection is like that.
Мобильного устройства.
Well, as the owner of the mobile device, can I understand whether I'm being attacked or not through any vulnerabilities on my device? Maybe through the OS, maybe through the hardware, maybe it takes long time to download it,
Какие-то аномалии есть?
maybe it behaves differently. Are there any
То, что ты
anomalies
именно находишься под
that
атакой,
can be detected? The
через
fact that you are
конкретную
under
уязвимость
attack
конкретного приложения,
through the specific vulnerability of the specific
скорее всего,
application,
к тебе смс-ка с описания придет.
mostly you will understand when you will receive the SMS about write-off of your money. But one single vulnerability, whether in mobile application or web application, whatever, vulnerability by itself, it's not a good thing. It has to be fixed. But in certain cases, it carries direct vector of threat. But several vulnerabilities, which are interconnected between the front and back, several vulnerabilities can be built in the attack chain. So that through mobile application, you can receive certain data which can allow you to continue attack against the user. This could be some personal data or confidential data that has leaked, or maybe even the password or an hashed MD5, God forbid. So what can help you to develop this attack in the future? So I have another question. User, from the side of the consumer of mobile phone,
Каким мобильным телефоном, может быть, с какой операционной системой?
which mobile phone or with which operating system, which version of operating system should I use to be confident on the maximum level that probability of attacking me is minimal one? Maybe there are certain applications which I better not to install. For example, we've been speaking about WhatsApp. So like this, don't install, and the probability that you will not be attacked, will be reduced by 95%. What should I do? Well, it's a basic security hygiene, as we call it. Don't install applications from unknown sources. Look at which permissions, which needs should be realized. Because if you install calculator and if it requests access to your photos and internet access and photos and everything, it's very strange. It's a basic hygiene. Don't get connected to public Wi-Fi networks, non-passworded. If you connect only to VPN in order to protect your own traffic, and please use lock screen, biometric authentication, password protection, and install updates.
Артем, к тебе вопрос. Pixel phone.
Artyom, question is to you. Pixel phone. In different communities, it is considered to be the most hardcore and highly defended device, and many people try to buy Pixel phone. Is it true or not? Well, let's begin by saying that vulnerabilities are available everywhere, but by some hardware and software, if it's a real vanilla Android Pixel, it is a really safe device, and I did use Pixel for quite a while. It receives patches, and as a user device, it's okay if you will follow those practices that Yura speaks about. But coming back to the first thesis, there are vulnerabilities everywhere, and they found vulnerabilities in Pixel's hardware, they find vulnerabilities in Android, very critical ones, and can they be exploited simultaneously all together? Maybe not, but if you will choose between the China phone for 3,000 rubles and Pixel, I would choose Pixel, definitely. Wait. It's a simple objective, but if you will choose between iPhone with the latest iOS or Google Pixel phone, from 1 to 10, which one of them will be more protected if the user follows all the security precautions, does not get connected to unknown Wi-Fi networks, does not download applications from unknown locations? Well, the worst thing is that there is no definite answer to this question, and if it would be available, then perhaps the spheres of informational security wouldn't exist, because there's also orthogonal thing which is called privacy. For example, if there's a privacy, there's security. And in case with Pixel, it can be put in the graph of OS, which is safe with all these patches, and you can attach some other things, and you can receive even more control over the smartphone than with iOS, because you can do nothing with it, especially if you're speaking about new iOS versions. There's no normal jailbreak for it, etc. So if you're speaking about basic user who wants to take and use without thinking about it, then I would recommend iPhone. You will have less headaches without it. But if it's an advanced user, if you want to control what you want to use. It's a pixel with Graphene OS. Okay, very clear answer. Other cases when developer knows about a vulnerability, but he doesn't patch this vulnerability. Maybe it's not.
Да, таких примеров много. Очень,
Well, there's a lot of
очень
examples like
много
that
и в мобилках, и в остальных сервисах.
in mobile
Да,
applications and other services. And
да, такие примеры есть. И с паблик
there are examples like that, and public vulnerabilities as well. It's less popular, but those vulnerabilities that we discover as a person who's been on the other side of barricades in the information security department in different companies. We've been in the scanning department, we've been doing analysis, security analysis, and I thought that Artem is not going to let me lie. There were so many positives that we found in one release, and every month they say, okay, can you check the new version, and what's going to be the percentage that you can just simply copy and install into this report? Come on, big amount, up to 9%. But 50-60% you can just copy and paste. Different reasons, simply because the lack of time on the side of developers. They don't pay significant attention to information security problems and defects. It's non-correlation between information security and business when they work together. Like Competitive has published a new feature, you have to do it, but your vulnerability, we don't really care about it because, deadlines are burning, we accept risks and we move on, they say. And as I've told you previously, in mobile applications, it's even a bigger problem because not everybody understands the importance of mobile security and the importance of client part of it, because there's a lot of errors about this. Like what? Why do we need to check application? They are being checked by Google Play and App Store. It's a good version, maybe I will support it. Yes? No. Because Google Play only checks things they need. They check that all the rights which are available in the application should be described by the privacy policy, should be signed by the proper key. There are separate checks for the quality of assembly, debug is disconnected, that in iOS, the most important thing they check that nobody could take their private API, because they have white lists, gray lists, and black list of APIs which are not permitted to pull them. Gray list is something that will go to the blacklist, and white list is a public API of Google and Apple. They check so that nobody would take them private APIs and the rules of development. About security of your application, they don't care. But is there any vulnerabilities in your code? Is there any backdoors, non-declared possibilities, etc.? They don't care about that. Their policies shouldn't be violated, and you should follow their rules. That's what it is. And another deception, the misconception that it belongs only to one. Vulnerability of a client is touching only one client. No, it's not like that. Because first of all, as I've told you in the beginning, if it's you, if your money will be stolen from you, but what if this client, even if he is alone, like VIP client, and he has millions in his accounts, or it's some VIP person, attack against whom will be very expensive for the company, business, or country. So if the vulnerability is available in one device, the other users also are vulnerable. So actually, we forget that applications installed in thousands of devices, and thousands of them can be violated and subject to this attack, to the problem of this vulnerability. Artyom, mobile antiviruses. Many people think that it's senseless. What do you think? I'll give you the answer about mobile antivirus. And I have very important addition to the previous statement. I would like to be an advocate of the devil and say why
На самом
developers
деле,
may not
основная
fix their
задача
bugs.
хакера, да, там,
The main
исследователя
objective of the
безопасности,
hacker
который
or the
пишет отчет,
security
это сделать так,
investigator
чтобы его
who
поняли.
write the
Если
report is
разработчики его
to
не
be
поняли, в
understood.
чем
If
опасность
developers
этой
do not
баги, они,
understand
конечно, не
them, what
будут
is
ее
the danger of
фиксить.
this
Они так
bug,
посмотрят, может
they
быть,
will
даже
never
как-то
fix it. They will
плюсиками,
look at it
опять
and they
немного
will
написали,
see and laugh,
исправить не
okay, they're
будут,
writing
поэтому,
some
собственно,
other shit, and
собственно,
they're
хакер
never
в данном
going to
случае
fix it. So the
состоит в
hacker's
том,
art
чтобы
from this point of
объяснить
view
факт
is to
важности этой баги,
convey
если
the
хакер действительно
impact and
считает ее
importance
важной.
of this bug if the
Скриншот,
hacker
допустим,
thinks it
будет
to be
полезно
important, but a
добавить и
screenshot of
так
some
далее. Но
useful things
коммуникация
and some
вот
other things,
это что
and
касается этого
communications.
вопроса. По поводу мобильного
This is
антивируса.
about the previous question about
Я на
mobile
самом деле
antivirus.
какое-то время
Honestly,
пользовался мобильным антивирусом,
I did use
но,
mobile
если честно,
antivirus,
я его не понял.
but
Это
honestly
абсолютно личное
speaking, I
мнение.
did
Я не
not
понял, зачем он
understand
мне
it.
нужен,
It's my
потому что на
private
самом
opinion.
деле
Why do I
это
need it?
обычное
Because
клиентское приложение.
honestly,
Это под Android
it's a
было.
regular
Обычное
client
клиентское
application
приложение,
for
которое имеет,
Android.
в общем-то,
In
такие
my
же
case,
права, как все
it
другие
has
клиентские
same
приложения.
rights like all
Понимает, как
other
работает
client
с точки зрения
applications, and
алгоритмов и все
understanding
остальное.
how
Но
the applications
мне
work
не
in
очевидно,
Android.
что этот антивирус что-то
It's not
полезное мне
obvious to
найдет.
me
Да,
that this
посмотрим,
antivirus
или нам
will find
полезет.
something useful.
Да, у
Yes,
него есть
they will
какие-то
look at the names of the
эвристики, и что-то,
packages.
наверное, он
Yes, they
найдет.
do have certain
Опять же, моя
heuristics,
рекомендация,
and
если вы
it will find
ну,
something.
совсем
So my
пользователь
recommendations,
такой, просто там
if
смартфон вчера
you are
купил,
really,
то да, наверное,
really
вам первое
basic
время будет
user
полезен
and bought a
этот
smartphone
антивирус.
yesterday,
Но
then
не
it's going to be
менее, я
useful to
лично
you, the
я
mobile
его
antivirus. But
мало
personally, for
пользуюсь, потому
me,
что
I
я
don't
руками
see a lot of
быстрее
usefulness
ничего
in it
смотрю, чем
because
этот
manually
антивирус
I
с
can look
этими
faster
приложениями.
and better than this antivirus. Sorry for
Ну,
this opinion.
есть действительно известные вирусы, которые он может
Well, there
детектировать,
are well-known
и
viruses which can be
тем
detected,
самым улучшать,
and
что ли,
therefore,
защиту пользователя. Но с другой стороны,
by
точно
this
так же,
they
как обычное
can
приложение с такими же правами,
improve
доступом,
the
как и все
protection of the
остальные.
client, but it's the same application with the same access rights like all others. It has no privileges in the system, so I do agree.
Классных приложений для
But
мобильных
there's
телефонов.
a lot
Я
of cool
пользуюсь
applications for
WhoCalls.
mobile phones. For example, I
Приложение
use
вообще
WhoCalls
потрясающая штука.
application. Wonderful thing.
Про безопасность, а вроде бы и не антивирус.
Well, it's like about security and not an antivirus. We need to have more of those. And I have a final question to you.
Компании, которые разрабатывают
Are
мобильные
companies
приложения,
ready, those who develop mobile application,
уязвимости в их приложениях?
to pay for discovered vulnerabilities in their applications?
Если
Is
они
there a
платят,
practice like that on the side of the companies?
Мгм. Ну, это про баг баунти.
And which amounts of the bug bounty they pay? Well, this is about bug bounty. This is payment for vulnerabilities discovered, for confirmed vulnerabilities, things that are exploited. Yes, this
И
does
многие
exist.
компании, да,
And
в
many companies,
списке того, что они включают вот в эту программу баг
in
баунти,
a list, what they include into this bug bounty application, they include client applications as well.
практика есть, естественно.
So, yes, this does exist.
На
Which
самом деле,
companies are those?
как правило, это большие, да, IT-компании.
Ну, Google, Apple.
Google, и Apple, у них
These are big IT companies like Google, Apple. Yeah, Google, Apple, they have their own programs where they pay money for vulnerabilities
ну,
in their applications.
да, это там ВК,
Out of our
Яндекс,
applications,
да, у них также в
VK, Mail, Yandex,
IT-корпорации, назовем их так, вот, которые
big
заботятся
IT
о безопасности.
corporations
И, да,
which are taking care of their security. And yes,
на различных площадках, вот, и у Позитива,
in different platforms like Positive Technologies, also in our Russian,
ну,
that we also have this possibility. Well, as a rule,
про суммы, наверное, это лучше оставлю этот вопрос
speaking about the
Артему. Вот.
sums, I will leave this question to Artyom,
В баг баунти.
because my experience is not that rich in bug bounty programs. However,
Практика очень хорошая, очень правильная.
this is a very good and proper experience. Relatively speaking, you are not limited by one person who looks at your application, but you give it to the full community and you're ready to pay for it. But for this, you should have mature processes and in a part of cooperation with the development and in a part of business and in a part of cooperation with the platform. Because if the bug was reported to you and you have verified it and it's not been removed within 6 months,
особо смысла в этом нету. Ты как бы не знаешь,
then
хорошо,
it
молодец.
makes no sense. Like you know about it, which is good, but how
эффективно
will
для
this
тебя, да,
be
сколько ты потратишь.
effective?
Но это вопрос
You,
хороший.
how much will you spend? It's a good question.
Артем, дополнишь что-то по суммам?
Artyom, can you add something to me about the amounts?
Единственная ремарка у меня есть
Well,
по
I
поводу
will
баг-баунти
add
для
something on the
мобильных,
amount, and I have a remark for the bug bounty for the mobile applications. The problem
что
is
мобильные
that
приложения, ну вот таких вот
mobile
крупных тайтлов, да, они
applications
очень
of
часто
big
оказываются тонкими
titles
клиентами.
very
На самом-то деле у
often are
мобилки
added by
немного
thin
есть
clients, and
весь функционал на
mobiles
сервере. То есть
have a
исследование
lot of
этого
things and
мобильного
all the
приложения
functionalities in the
так или
server.
иначе
And the
скатывается
research,
именно на
investigation of this
сервер
mobile
этой самой
application will
мобилки.
go down to the
С
analysis of
другой
the server,
стороны,
and not,
если
not the
мобильное
mobile
приложение
itself.
это
But on the
толстый
other side, if
клиент
the
или
mobile
вообще не
application
клиент,
is a thick
а
client or
какое-то
not a client at all,
самостоятельное,
but
то уже
a
может быть
certain
довольно низкий
separate
импакт, да,
entity,
ну то есть
then
понятно,
we
ну
could have a
кто-то
very low
пользователь просто
impact. Well,
заломает
it's not
что-то,
understandable.
ну,
One user will be
ну и что,
broken by
компания это
somebody.
пострадает. То есть это
So
все
what?
непростые вопросы,
Will the
но
company
тем не
suffer from it?
менее
So these
баг-баунти
are not
мобильных
simple
приложений
question.
существует,
But
за
the bug
баги
bounty of
платят.
mobile
Я
applications
так по
exists
ходу
and
сейчас вот
bugs are being
список сумм
paid
не
for.
назову, но
And
из такого
right now I
забавного,
cannot call you the list of
я
the.
когда-то находил, да,
But one of the clever
мобильных
things that I've
приложениях часто
discovered once
попадаются
upon a time in
неполноценные
mobile
экраны, да,
applications,
нужно потрясти телефон или
you
там
sometimes see
красная версия
debug
нажать,
screens, like you can
отладочный экран.
press version
Ну, это
15
можно
times
делать
and you
всякое,
see the
выбрать
debug
там
screen where
DevStack,
you can do
что-то еще.
anything.
Вот за такой
Like you
баг
can
вроде бы,
select
ну,
dev
баг
stand and
есть,
things like,
значит,
well, for this bug,
поведет.
you can receive
Нет,
bug like this if you will be able
еще есть
to get
момент,
it. There's
больше
another
платят все
thing
же
like
за
that.
системные приложения, да,
They pay more
потому
for
что
system
в
applications
приложении Гугла
because
системном она гораздо
bugs in
серьезнее, чем
Google
баг там в
system, well,
каком-нибудь,
it's
не
much more
знаю,
serious than a
фоторедакторе.
bug
Просто
in a
потому что
certain
системное
photo
приложение имеет
editor,
системные
just
права.
because the system
И
application has system rights. And
невыполнение кода, скажем так, от имени этого
code
приложения, оно дает
execution
гораздо
on
больше
behalf of this
возможностей для
application gives
выполнения
you
кода в
more
фоторедакторе.
opportunities
Ну и,
than code
соответственно, денег
execution in
будет
photo
гораздо больше.
editor. And of course, you will get much more money from that.
Дополню чуть-чуть, у
And I would
вендоров
like to add to this a couple of words about the vendors, different vendors like Samsung, Xiaomi, at least Google.
как свои
They
собственные
have
программы,
their
вот,
own
так
bug
и
bounty programs.
периодически
And
доплачивают дополнительно сверх того,
periodically,
что
they
именно в их
pay
системных приложениях ты
additionally
найдешь.
if in their
Мне
system
бывает
applications
понравится
you will
обычно
find
вот,
something.
баги, конечно.
And of course, there are some funny bugs that could be discovered. Funny like
В этом
what?
году, по-моему, был репорт
Well, this year
про баг
there was a
в
report
Samsung,
about the bug
когда
in Samsung when
они кастомизировали одно из системных
they have
приложений,
customized one of the system applications by switching on the check bypass security flag, accepting true or false, and as a fact, by sending a properly formed intent into this application, it was doing the following. It has downloaded from a certain list. The application has been installed into the phone, made it as an admin, and all other applications have been
Ну
removed.
что ж,
Beautiful.
спасибо большое,
Beautiful.
ребят. Юрий
Well,
Шабалин,
thank you very much, guys.
Артем Кулаков,
Yuri Shabalin, Artyom
безопасность
Kulakov,
или паранойя.
they've been
И
telling us about
все-таки, наверное,
security or
вещи
paranoia,
совместимые. То есть
whether
точно это
these
чуть
things are
больше
compatible.
перепараноить,
So
ну и
I think
обезопасить
we
себя.
should be a
Спасибо
little bit
большое.
more paranoid in order to keep ourselves
Да,
safe.
пока-пока.
Thank you very much.